There comes a moment in every person's life when the world goes silent, when the noise of opinions, expectations, and fears fades into the background, and you are left with a single decision: will you choose yourself? Not the version they told you to be, not the mask you've worn to fit in, but the truth of who you are, your fire, your calling, your destiny. And when you finally say yes to that version of you, everything changes. Section 1. The old life dies quietly. The moment you choose yourself is the moment the old life begins to crumble. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, some people will walk away, but they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the version of you that made them feel safe, the one who stayed small, agreeable, silent. When you choose yourself, you stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop giving energy to things that drain your soul. You let the old habits die. You let the excuses die. You let the fear die, because a new you is being born. Section 2. The birth of power. Power is not given. It is claimed, and it is claimed the instant you decide you are enough. You don't need anyone's permission to chase your dreams. You don't need validation to follow your heart. You don't need to wait for the right time, because the time is now. When you choose yourself, your mind sharpens. You begin to walk with certainty, because your steps are finally aligned with your purpose. You no longer move out of fear. You move out of vision. You don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself boldly, relentlessly, unapologetically. Section 3. The world shifts in response. Here's what they don't tell you. When you choose yourself, the world starts choosing you too. Opportunities appear. Doors open. People show up, not the ones who tolerated you, but the ones who see you. Why? Because the energy of self-respect is magnetic. When you stop begging for crumbs, life offers you the feast. This isn't luck. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. When you show up for yourself consistently, with discipline and courage, life begins to show up for you. Section 4. The pain of growth. The reward of truth. Make no mistake, this road is not easy. Growth hurts. It burns away the false comforts. It demands discipline, sacrifice, and the strength to walk alone when necessary. But what you gain in return is everything. You gain clarity. You gain direction. You gain your soul back. You look in the mirror and no longer see a stranger. You see a warrior forged in fire, standing in truth. Finale, the irrefutable truth: the moment you choose yourself is not the end. It is the beginning of the life you were meant to live. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them walk away. You don't need them, you need you. Choose your dreams, choose your values, choose your power. Choose your peace, choose your destiny. This is what happens when you finally choose yourself. You become unstoppable. You become undeniable. You become free. Now go and never look back. The world has waited long enough. It's time. There comes a time in every person's journey when the weight of who they have pretended to be becomes too heavy to carry. The mask slips. The roles dissolve. The applause fades. And what remains is the quiet truth that they have never truly chosen themselves. You see, most people live as actors in a play written by someone else. Their lines are not their own. Their decisions are shaped by fear, by duty, by the loud voices of others who told them what to be. They are molded by teachers who didn't know their power, by parents who feared risk, by peers who praised conformity and punished boldness. And so they live safely but never freely. But the individual who desires greatness must awaken. He must come to see that no dream can be realized, no success can be achieved, until he releases the false version of himself, the version that was designed to please, to fit in, to be approved of. This is the first real test of courage. Not the courage to climb mountains or conquer markets, but the courage to look in the mirror and say, "This is not who I am." Understand this. You cannot hold onto the old life and step into the new one at the same time. The two are in direct opposition. One is built on compromise, the other on truth. One is driven by fear, the other by purpose. The old you may be liked, accepted, and even praised, but the praise is for a role you're playing, not for the soul you are hiding. And so, even when you win, you feel hollow. Let that version die. Let the need to impress others die. Let the need to seek approval die. Let the need to meet expectations that were never your own die. Because as long as you cling to those things, you will never taste real success. You may achieve comfort, but never fulfillment. You may reach safety, but never freedom. And don't think for a moment that this transformation will come without resistance. It will not. The moment you decide to choose yourself truly, and finally the world will push back. Friends may distance themselves. Family may not understand. Society will call you selfish. But listen closely. What they fear is not your choice. What they fear is your clarity. They see something in you that they abandoned in themselves, the fire to live with conviction, and rather than light their own fire, they will try to dim yours. Do not let them. You are not here to be understood. You are here to live in truth. You will be tempted to go back. You will remember the comfort of playing small, the security of being accepted, but you must resist. Because the cost of returning to who you used to be is far greater than the discomfort of becoming who you truly are. In this decision to release the false self and embrace your real identity lies the beginning of all lasting success. Not the shallow kind that fades with trends and time, but the deep kind that anchors your soul and fuels your mission. The kind of success that brings peace at night and power in the morning. You will walk differently. Speak differently, think differently, and you will feel the friction of that shift, but do not fear it. That is the friction of transformation. That is the heat that forges character. That is the pain that gives birth to freedom. Remember this, nothing truly great is ever built on a lie, not a business, not a marriage, not a life. If you wish to build something lasting, something worthy of your time on this earth, it must be built on truth, and that truth must begin with the choice to be fully and completely you. So let the old you die, let the mask fall, let the weight of pleasing others drop from your shoulders. There is no glory in being what they want if it means forgetting who you are. Choose yourself, not just once, but every day. Choose your voice over the noise. Choose your dreams over their doubts. Choose your truth over their expectations. The world does not need another copy. It needs you, the real you, fully alive, fiercely determined, and finally free. This is the first step on the path to greatness, and it begins the moment you have the courage to let go. Power, the very word, electrifies the soul, but most people misunderstand it. They think power is something bestowed by others, handed down by society, granted by authority, or gifted by circumstance. They wait for a title, a degree, or a round of applause before they dare to believe in their own strength. But let me tell you the truth, a truth most never discover in their entire lives. Power is not given, it is claimed, and it is claimed the moment you decide that you are enough. You don't become powerful when others believe in you. You become powerful the moment you believe in yourself so deeply, so completely, that you no longer ask for permission to live boldly. Understand this, the world is full of people who are talented but timid. They wait, they hesitate, they second, guess their instincts, and surrender their authority to opinions that don't matter. Why? Because they've been taught to seek validation instead of listening to the quiet certainty that burns within them. But the men and women who leave a mark on history do not wait to be chosen, they choose themselves. When you choose yourself, something shifts inside you. You no longer see obstacles as stop signs, you see them as tests. You no longer look for someone to save you. You become the one who rises, who acts, who dares. You no longer move with the herd. You walk your own path, even if it means walking alone. This, my friend, is the beginning of personal power. It starts with a decision that says, I will not abandon myself any longer. I will trust my vision, my voice, my value. And when you make this decision, the world may not notice at first. But you will. You'll feel it in the way you speak, the way you stand, the way you carry yourself through adversity. You will begin to lead your own life rather than follow the scripts written by others. The truth is this: every great achievement in history was born from a single person's decision to back themselves, to believe when no one else did, to show up even when no one was watching, to take the first step even when the outcome was uncertain. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, not luck, not talent, but the courage to say, I am the one, the decision to own your destiny with full responsibility and full conviction. Let me be clear, this is not arrogance. Arrogance demands the spotlight, but true power works in silence. It does not scream, it does not beg, it does not need applause, it simply knows, and that knowing becomes your compass. You begin to move differently. You're no longer reactive. You are intentional. You're no longer swayed by every opinion. You stand firm in your own. You're no longer distracted by doubt. You replace it with discipline. Because when you choose yourself, you commit to honoring your word, your work, and your worth. And the beautiful thing is this: the more you choose yourself, the more the world responds. The more you trust yourself, the more others learn to trust you. The more you walk with purpose, the more doors begin to open, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Power was never outside of you. It was waiting for you to rise and claim it. And once you do, no one can take it away, because it's no longer dependent on approval or applause. It comes from within, steady, solid, unshakable. So stop waiting. Stop hoping someone else will see what you see. That's your job. That's your responsibility. No one will fight for your dream the way you will. No one will believe in your purpose the way you must. And no one can live your life but you. Choose yourself. Not once, not twice, but every day, in the big moments and the small, in success and in struggle, in the light and in the dark, because every time you do, you remind yourself and the world that you are the author of your life, not a character in someone else's story. And that, above all else, is where true power begins. There is a hidden law that governs all of life, a principle so simple, yet so powerful, that those who understand it hold the key to every success, every connection, and every breakthrough they ever desire. That law is this: the world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are, and what you are deep within your heart and mind is revealed not by your words, not by your outward appearance, but by the energy of your self-respect. You cannot fake it, you cannot force it. You either respect yourself or you don't. And when you do, when you carry yourself with the quiet strength of a person who honors their values, protects their peace, and lives in alignment with their truth, the world feels it. Opportunities begin to move in your direction. People start to respond to you differently. You stop chasing, and things begin to flow. Why? Because you have stopped betraying yourself, and the universe recognizes that frequency. Now, most people spend their lives trying to impress the world while quietly disrespecting themselves. They say yes when they want to say no. They dim their light so others feel more comfortable. They allow fear to dictate their choices, and all the while they wonder why doors remain closed and success feels just out of reach. But the truth is, the world mirrors you. If you treat yourself like a second-class citizen, life will too. If you doubt your worth, others will doubt it too. If you constantly seek approval, you teach people to question your authority. But the moment you draw the line, the moment you decide, no more, I will no longer shrink, I will no longer apologize for my strength, I will no longer tolerate anything that dishonors who I am, everything begins to shift. You begin to walk into rooms differently. You begin to speak with more clarity and less hesitation. You begin to demand more, not because you are entitled, but because you are awake to your value, and life responds. You see, self-respect is not just an internal state, it is a signal. It is a vibration that others can feel long before you speak. It tells the world how to treat you, how to engage with you, and how seriously to take you. You no longer chase after people who don't see you. You no longer settle for opportunities that pay you less than your worth. You no longer stay in environments that poison your growth. You become magnetic not because you try to be, but because you are finally authentic. And there is nothing more attractive than authenticity backed by self-respect. This is not about ego, it's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When your actions match your standards and your standards are rooted in truth, the world must adjust. It cannot help but respond to the force of a person who has chosen themselves fully, and make no mistake, there will be resistance at first. The old life you're leaving behind will try to pull you back. The people who are comfortable with the version of you that tolerated too much will not applaud your evolution, but let them go, because they were never aligned with your highest self, only with the version of you that didn't yet know your worth. The moment you begin to respect yourself truly, fully, you stop negotiating with life, you stop begging, you stop settling, and you begin to attract. The people you meet are different, the conversations are richer, the results you produce are greater. Why? Because everything you do now flows from a place of certainty, not desperation, from strength, not scarcity, and that is the moment you realize the truth you were never taught in school. Your life rises or falls to the level of your self-respect. So if you want more, if you want success, love, abundance, peace, don't look out there, look within. Choose to honor yourself not just once, but in every decision, every relationship, every moment. Because when you change the way you see yourself, the world has no choice but to follow. That's not a theory, that's a law, and those who live by it live free. There is a price for growth, and it is not cheap. It does not come wrapped in comfort or handed down in convenience. Growth comes through struggle, through tension, through discomfort that burns away the old so that the new can rise. It is not an accident, it is earned. And it is only earned by those who are willing to endure the pain required to become who they were always meant to be. You cannot grow and remain the same. That is the law. You cannot rise while clinging to what once held you. The path forward demands that you leave something behind, a version of yourself, a habit, a belief, a fear. Something must die so something greater can be born. The pain of growth is not punishment. It is preparation, and yet most people run from it. At the first sign of difficulty, they retreat. At the first moment of resistance, they give up. They believe that if it hurts, it must not be right. But that is a lie. In fact, it is the pain that confirms you are on the path. It is the resistance that proves the breakthrough is near. The caterpillar must struggle inside the cocoon before it becomes the butterfly. The seed must crack in darkness before it reaches the light. You, too, must go through your own breaking. The world may not understand it. Those around you may call it unnecessary, but deep inside, you know this pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you, to refine you, to strip away what is weak and leave behind what is strong. Growth is not always loud, it is often quiet. It happens in solitude, in silence, in the moments when no one is watching, but you still choose to show up. It happens when you hold yourself to a higher standard, not because someone told you to, but because you refuse to live another day beneath your potential. Yes, it will be uncomfortable, you will lose people. You will outgrow places, you will be misunderstood, but this is the price of elevation. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to fulfill a purpose so great that it demands transformation. There will be nights when doubt whispers, turn back. There will be mornings when fear screams, you can't do this, but you must push forward. Because hidden inside the pain is a gift, a strength you didn't know you had, a clarity you didn't know you needed, and a purpose that only reveals itself when everything else falls away. Do not resist the discomfort. Let it do its work, let it teach you, let it forge you. The fire that burns also purifies, the weight that crushes also strengthens, and the pain that humbles also awakens. There will come a day when you look back and you will thank the struggle. You will thank the nights you cried but kept going. You will thank the doors that closed, the people who left, the setbacks that nearly broke you, because all of it, every piece of it, was necessary to uncover the power within you. You do not become who you were created to be by staying safe. You become it by walking through fire with your head high, your heart open, and your spirit unbreakable. Growth requires pain, but pain endured with purpose leads to power. You cannot shortcut this process, you cannot fake it, you cannot cheat it, you must walk through it step by step, day by day, and with every step something shifts inside you, your voice grows stronger. Your mind grows clearer, your spirit becomes more resilient, and one day, without warning, you will realize you've become someone new, not by chance, but by choice. This is the price of becoming. It is the toll you pay for purpose. And, though the path is narrow, though the nights are long, the reward is more than worth it. Because when you come out the other side, when you stand in the fullness of your strength and look back on all you've conquered, you will no longer be the person who once feared the pain. You will be the one who used it. Confidence is not something you find lying in the street. It is not something another person can hand you. And it is most certainly not something you're born with and either blessed to keep or doomed to live without. No. Confidence, real, unshakable confidence, is created. It is born the moment you choose yourself, fully and without apology. When a man decides, truly decides, to back himself, to believe in his own vision, to trust his own voice, and to commit to his own journey regardless of external noise, something extraordinary happens inside him. A kind of certainty forms, not loud, not boastful, but firm, and that certainty becomes the bedrock of his life. Now understand this, the world will not give you confidence. If you wait for others to validate you, you will be waiting forever. The world is too busy with its own doubts to affirm yours. But when you step forward, when you plant your feet and declare, "I am worthy," the world begins to respond not because it suddenly sees you, but because you finally see yourself. True confidence does not come from perfection. It comes from courage. It is forged in the moments when fear tells you to stay small, but you act anyway. It grows each time you keep a promise to yourself. Each time you honor your word, each time you take the harder path, not because it's glamorous, but because it's yours. There is no shortcut to this kind of self-assurance. You cannot read about it. You cannot borrow it. You must live it. The man who chooses himself is not waiting to be picked. He picks himself, not because he thinks he knows everything, but because he knows this. He is willing to learn. He is willing to grow. He is willing to fail and rise and try again, and that willingness, that relentless commitment, becomes the fuel of his confidence. You see, most people don't lack ability, they lack belief. They wait for someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, "You're ready now." But no one is coming to say that. That voice must come from within, and when it does, it changes the way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself in every room, because confidence is not bravado. It is not arrogance. It is not pretending to be more than you are. It is simply knowing who you are and refusing to shrink in the face of challenge or criticism. When you choose yourself, you no longer need to chase. You no longer need to impress. You no longer beg for a seat at the table. You build your own table and you sit at the head of it, and that posture, that presence, is unmistakable. People can sense it, the calm resolve of someone who knows who they are, who knows where they're going, and who isn't asking anyone for permission to arrive there. This is the confidence that moves mountains. Not because it shouts, but because it decides. It doesn't react, it initiates. It doesn't flinch at setbacks, it adapts. It doesn't need applause, it walks in quiet mastery. But this kind of confidence cannot be manufactured on the surface. It is not found in expensive clothes or clever words. It is rooted in something much deeper: self-respect, self-trust, and self-ownership. And those three can only come when you stop waiting for someone else to believe in you and finally, powerfully, choose to believe in yourself. The path won't be easy, you will doubt, you will stumble, but every time you get back up, every time you keep going when it would have been easier to quit, you add another brick to your foundation. And soon enough, you will stand on a mountain you built with your own hands, not by chance, not by inheritance, but by conviction. And from that place, you will walk through life with your head held high, not because life has been easy, but because you were bold enough to choose yourself when it was hard. That's where real confidence lies. Not in the applause of the crowd, but in the quiet knowing of the soul that says, I am enough, I am capable, I am ready. And once you build that within you, no one can take it away. There is no greater power available to man than the power of alignment. When your thoughts, words, and actions move in harmony, when what you say matches what you do, and what you do reflects who you truly are, you unlock a force that sets the entire universe in motion on your behalf. This is not mere philosophy, this is law. Integrity is not just about morality, it is about energy, it is about coherence. When you live in integrity, you eliminate inner conflict, you remove the static. You silence the noise that robs most people of clarity. You become centered, grounded, immovable. A man who walks in integrity does not have to pretend. He does not have to manage false impressions or remember the lies he told to maintain appearances. He is free, free from guilt, free from contradiction, and free from the exhausting burden of being someone he is not. This is the turning point in any life, when you stop trying to be liked and start striving to be whole. When you stop measuring yourself by what others think and begin to measure yourself by the truth you know, that is when life begins to align. People misunderstand alignment. They think it means everything outside will suddenly be smooth. No, alignment begins inside. It means you become steady in the storm. It means your direction is set, even when the wind changes. It means you can trust yourself, and when you trust yourself, you walk with a kind of peace that no external achievement can give. Most men are torn within. They desire one thing but act in a way that betrays that desire. They want success but choose comfort. They want strength but indulge weakness. They want freedom but fear judgment. And that internal split, that misalignment, is why their lives feel stuck. But when you choose integrity, you begin to repair the fracture. You begin to rebuild the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. You no longer live divided. You no longer carry the shame of inconsistency. You show up as one man in every room, in every moment, in every choice, and the universe recognizes this. People begin to notice, not because you are louder, but because you are cleaner. There is no confusion in your energy. You are not trying to be impressive. You are simply honest. You are not chasing approval. You are chasing truth, and that truth makes you powerful. There is a magnetism in integrity. It attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right outcomes, not because you're manipulating or performing, but because you are aligned, and alignment draws what belongs to you always. Now, do not confuse integrity with perfection. You will stumble, you will fall, but integrity means you take responsibility. You correct your course, you admit your flaws, you make the hard choice, not the easy one, even when no one is watching. Integrity means doing what's right, not what's convenient. It means saying no when your soul says no, even if your mouth wants to say yes. It means keeping your word to others, yes, but more importantly, keeping your word to yourself. Because when you break promises to yourself, you chip away at your own power. But when you honor them, when you follow through, when you discipline yourself to be consistent, you build something unshakable inside. You build trust, and trust is the foundation of all greatness. It is easy to speak bold words in public. It is much harder to live by them in private. But that's where integrity is born, in the silence, in the shadows, in the places where no one is looking but you. And if you can win there, if you can pass the test, when it's just you, your conscience, and the decision in front of you, then life will meet you with blessings you didn't even ask for. Everything changes when you stop compromising your character. When you stop cutting corners, when you stop selling out your future for the comfort of the moment, that's when alignment begins. That's when you stop sabotaging your progress. That's when the pieces begin to fit, because you finally do. You no longer need to chase the life you want. You simply become the kind of man who attracts it, and that begins not with grand gestures but with daily integrity, quiet discipline, clear intention. Honest action. The world cannot resist the force of a man who walks in truth, and when that man appears, life has no choice but to align.